When I first started to play with AI agents, I was like mind blown.
The difference between AI automation and AI agents.
We really focus on more autopilot AI agents rather than copilot.
In just under 5 hours, I've got the first MVP, the first version of that agent up and running for the client.
It works best when it's actually combined with traditional automation.
AI agents do that completely different, in a completely different way.
The more you can break down into smaller agents, the better you can kind of then get them to work with each other. And we're really excited to launch that soon, actually. That's going to be a really, really powerful feature.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Curiosity Code podcast. Today is going to be quite a special episode. First of all, I'm co-hosting this episode with our partner and my close friend, Ilya.
Hey everyone.
Ilya.
Hey everyone.
And second of all, we'll have a special guest, and I'll explain why we will have a special guest in a minute. Today, everybody's talking about AI, and AI is such a generic term. We can divide it in different, sub aspects of AI, like LLMs and agents and automations and stuff. But what we hear more and more often these days is everybody talking about AI agents. So today we're going to explore that subject. We'll talk about the differences and what the AI agent is. And let's dive in. Ilya, you are doing PhD in that subject, and you've been playing with this technology for a long time from different aspects, from marketing, from technology, from business. What are your feelings about this technology? What is...
Sure. Thanks, Alex. I'm actually working on my PhD thesis. I wouldn't say it's connected to AI in a broad sense. It's rather about processing the environmental data. I'm pretty much curious about the satellite data, Earth observation, and how we can get insights from the data that we get from space and predict some things that are happening on our planet. But that's perhaps a topic for a next podcast episode. Today we are rather focusing on AI agents, and actually, like people are just getting to know what is AI agent. So there's a shift happening these days from AI automation to AI agents, and today I think we are going to talk a lot about what are the differences between AI automations, AI agents, and I don't know, some generic ChatGPT questioning that you do via the user interface. When I first started to play with AI agents, I was like mind blown. That shifted my perspective completely, because what we have done previously, like we were using tools like Make.com and N8N, other automation platforms. And what you typically do is that you connect some inputs, you do some processing of that data based on some predefined logic. Maybe you use some OpenAI APIs, some, Claude 3.5 models under the hood. But eventually, it's something that you define on the inputs. You do some processing, you process the output from an LLM, and you always provide the answer in a pre-formatted, predefined way. So there is pretty much nothing to do with the different multiple solution trees or multiple paths to solve a particular problem. It's just like what's been given, what you have received based on an LLM processing. AI agents do that completely different, in a completely different way. And we will talk today how it's actually done. Is there anything particularly you wanted to talk about today, Alex?
Yeah, let's narrow it down to a particular use case. Just let's start with that. Let's explore, I don't know, use cases that you've seen being success of AI agents application in FinTech, because we mainly talk about FinTech here, right? So let's explore that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a customer for whom we built that platform for market data analysis, and I think you can better explain all the nuances, since you've been the one who closed that customer, who was working with that customer for a long time. So you know all the nuances. So that's something like different, like cases where you need to do some market analysis, and pretty much you have pre-structured data and you process that data. On the other end, there are cases like for sales and marketing, and you know that I do a lot of automation and optimization for the processes in sales and marketing, and things are common for most of the companies, not only for the fintech companies, and people are doing pretty much same things there, trying to find prospects, trying to find leads that are the most suitable ones, and hopefully they don't do like full automation, full outreach automation, uh, because we see a lot of that spam on LinkedIn, right? On our inboxes, that people just process your LinkedIn profile and send you a blunt email like, "Hey, I saw you are from that school. I saw you are from that company. You are leading that kind of direction. We are selling you this kind of a solution. Let's connect." That doesn't go. That doesn't come through nicely these days, right? So we need something smarter. And what people realize today is that you can't do anymore that kind of a fake personalization. You really need to go deeper and find meaningful insights. And this is where the AI agents come nicely. So that they are able to analyze vast amount of information, scrape the data from your LinkedIn account, from your Twitter account, from your X account, I mean, from your website, and by scraping, I mean getting the data that is allowed to get. By the way, LinkedIn doesn't allow you to scrape their data by the terms of service. Just for the people to know, that's not fully legal. So you collect that information, and this is how AI helps you to get some insights, right? So it gives you some hints and tips how to approach that person, that company in the best way. And I suggest that we use that information to write a really personalized email instead of letting AI do that personalization, so that there is some kind of emotional connection. There is some kind of like, I don't know, real thought process behind that outreach. So I advocate for lead qualification, but not for automated email outreach in the sense.
Now, what's important in this conversation, and I think we will try to discover more and more in this direction as this episode goes on, is the difference between AI automation and AI agents. Because you referenced one of the projects that we've been working on for the client, and I think it's more AI automation direction in the compliance domain of financial services. In my perspective, and I will share my vision on that. What we've been doing mostly for the past, let's call it a year, since ChatGPT has been introduced to the audience and to the broader market, and people start using it, that was AI automation. And we were mainly playing with prompt engineering. Okay, how can we come up with a great prompt so that we reduce hallucination and sometimes weird data that we get from ChatGPT? Then how can we format it in a way that we can use it and process it? So basically, we were using LLMs more like, hey, can you process this and then give us the feedback, and then we will do something with that. AI agents is a completely different beast. What is the difference between AI automation and AI agent in your perspective, Ilya?
Yeah, so that's a complete paradigm shift, I think. That's a complete paradigm shift. Because we programmers, developers, we used to follow some paradigms during the evolution of IT science, computer science, right? First, we did some procedure programming, so-called procedure programming. So you have just like a list of codes, and you go line by line. You have those like go-to operators, if you remember that first version of BASIC. Anyway, we switched to object-oriented programming later on, and this was the paradigm that was dominated recently. There was also some trend for functional programming, and there were some functional languages like F Sharp, for example, and others. And I think a similar process happening in terms of machine learning and AI development. So when people work on those automations, when people work with those APIs, they go through similar stages of different paradigms. And before, we had some basic versions of natural language processing, right? We had some semantic rules, how to process that particular piece of text, what kind of information is in that text, and we were writing our code based on those semantic outputs, the decisions of those small, comparatively small to today's models, NLP models, and they are still in the game, by the way. So in the cases when you need to process some small chunks of text, or you have some predefined logic how to process the text, you still want to use NLP libraries, at least to not overpay for the API calls. Anyway, then we started to integrate with OpenAI. I think that happened like 2 years ago. We started to do those integrations with OpenAI, trying to trying to figure out how to get maximum value out of it. And I think the businesses are still trying to figure out how to adopt AI for their processes, for their operations. So I think we are on early stages still. So that was like a plain AI APIs integration. And just recently, we started moving towards this AI agents paradigm. What does that mean? So in these cases, you don't have any hard-coded logic, any predefined logic, and it's much suitable for the cases where some complex decision making should be happening. So you don't know what you will get on the input side, and you're pretty flexible about the output side. So those agents, they enable you to do that complex processing. And the essence is that those agents rather think slowly. They take some time to process your information. They build some decision-making chain. So you ask them actually to think slow, build your thought chain, and then generate an output. So there are actually 3 stages: reflection, planning, and generation. So first, they reflect on the information that was given to you. They turn to their long-term memory, and we are talking here about the retrieval augmented generation type of systems, RAG systems. Then they plan their output, how they would approach that problem, and then they generate you a plan using different medium, right? They could give you a text, they could give you an image or video, depending on what you are asking for, what type of the output is requested, so that agent is able to process information slowly, and also it's able to discuss different parts of that solution with other agents. And this is the most important thing to know about the AI agents today. They can talk to each other, and this is the most beautiful part about AI agents. enabling
Yeah,
them.
let's explore that in a bit, because we have our special guest waiting
Oh
in the
yeah.
lobby room of Riverside. So just let's put it this way. Today, there are only a few platforms in the market that allow you to build AI agents on scale. And one of the most popular, and I love it personally, Ilya uses it in commercial projects, is Relevance AI. So today, I'm happy to have Jacky Koh as our special guest. I will let him in now, and we'll see where the
Hello?
conversation goes with him. Hi, Jacky.
Hi. Nice to meet you, Alex.
Do you mind making a little like short introduction of yourself? Like we all know that you're a co-founder of Relevance AI. Couple more sentences, if you don't mind. Something that is quite important in your opinion to share about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, hey both. So my name is Jacky. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Relevance AI. Much more of a data science and machine learning background. Have won a couple of awards when I was a data scientist. Led many different machine learning teams. But more of a fun fact. Actually, with the current co-founder Daniel Vasilev. During university, had actually built multiple mobile apps that topped number one on the Play Store and App Store, and total about 7.5 million users. So, yeah, that was a fun time in the past. I founded Relevance AI to really be able to help bring the home of the AI workforce to everyone, where essentially it's multiple AI agents, diverse ones, collaborating and working together to help solve increasingly complex and repetitive tasks for the human workforce. We have use cases, in sales, in marketing, in talent acquisition, in customer support, and our, platform is able to help you build and ship these agents end to end to then, further collaborate with each other. We've been lucky to work with some, enterprises that are, on the Nasdaq 500, but also some really fast-growing scale-ups as well. We're predominantly based in Sydney and San Francisco, about 40 people. So yeah, that's a quick intro to myself and Relevance.
Awesome. That's great. I'm based in Lisbon. Ilya is Tallinn, Estonia. This week in Lisbon, we had a Web Summit. It was quite a crazy event with more than 70,000 people. And every single stage has been talking about AI. So like whenever you go, you would see people talking about AI. So it's like, it just seems like a buzzword. It's feels like another bubble, like .com. What do you think? What are businesses really ready to replace traditional automation with this more dynamic and let's call it more smart solutions like AI agents? And how do you see Relevance AI bridging the gap between that hype and practical scalable use cases?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you're right. There's definitely like a lot of mention, a lot of people talking about AI. But I think one thing to really keep in mind is like, you know, just because there's a lot of people talking about it doesn't mean it's not like useful and doesn't mean it's like starting to deliver value. I think definitely a high percentage of, the talks can be a bit more fluffy, but let's not ignore the parts where it's actually, delivering really strong ROI. It's actually, improving people's, productivity, improving people's lives, etc. But in terms of like, as you mentioned, how do I think about it in terms of like comparing to traditional automation? To be honest, it's not really about replacing. The dynamic automation still requires traditional automation in certain cases. So like the whole thing, like for example, specifically around AI agents, is that it works best when it's actually combined with traditional automation. So like it's AI agents can essentially utilize the traditional automation when it feels like it's a task that it requires a traditional automation, and then it'll do it to, do the exact flow that, a traditional automation can do. But usually a whole end-to-end process requires many different automation, knowing when to use what automation at what time. And that's where AI and AI agents specifically can really be good at. It can know, like, for this specific scenario, I'm going to use this traditional automation to start automating it. And then for this other specific task, I'm going to use this, specific traditional automation. Just to give you an example, it's like, researching. Like, there's probably a lot of traditional automation when you utilize stuff like, Google, to actually, perform a search and get results back. That's actually automation in some ways, because like Google has, helped you index so many pages, so many content, to then automatically know from your query to give you back what's the results. But knowing what to query, that can be, a bit trickier sometimes. So that's when the AI agents, depending on the context, will automatically kind of put in to then, give you those appropriate results, etc. So it's really a mix of blend of both the dynamic and the kind of traditional rule-based that we see the best results in. And I think customers kind of sometimes forget about it. Like, you can't just purely rely on dynamic. You actually need to use the traditional rule-based when it makes sense, and then have it be blended in that same experience. So yeah.
That's an interesting point of view on that. So you're not looking at that as pure evolution where old solutions will be gradually become obsolete. It's more like you're taking the best out of every, and all of them actually evolve over the time. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Okay. Let me take it in a bit different direction. I saw your recent post about new custom actions for GPTs at Relevance AI. Can you give us behind the scenes, look at how these custom actions are revolutionizing AI agents and enabling entirely new capabilities for businesses?
I think you might skip that because that was like a very long time ago. I don't think I post that often. But custom actions for GPTs, we launched like almost like a year ago. And that was more just like a really convenient way for people to put the tools that they built in Relevance into a custom GPT if they want to distribute a custom GPT. But a lot more of our customers actually just give those tools to like a Relevance agent to then utilize. It was mainly like a quick win for our customers who want to also distribute like their tools like into more Copilot style agents within like ChatGPT rather than kind of more autopilot style, which is what we focus on at Relevance. We really focus on more autopilot AI agents rather than Copilot.
So we just talked about custom actions. I'm sure you have more questions for Jacky.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacky, I'm so excited, first of all, to have you on the show. And let me tell you a short story how we ended up here on this podcast. So actually, we've got a customer turning to us and asking us to help them with their marketing automation. And before that, I used a platform. I think you know that platform. It's called make.com, and it basically helps you to do some automations connecting different tools. It's similar to other tools on the market, like Zapier and other automation tools. But that customer sent me a link to a YouTube video from Bean AI. And in that video, Bean explained how to use Relevance AI to build AI agents. And I think that was the first time when I was introduced to this idea of AI agents. And I was completely like shocked and impressed about the current progress in this field, in this direction. And so I started learning more about Relevance AI. I started building those agents for the client using Relevance AI. And imagine what, like in just under 5 hours, I've got the first MVP, the first version of that agent up and running for the client. He was like completely shocked, completely mind blown, because he worked a lot with the freelancers, but he has never seen such a speed of implementation. I was shocked too, because when you work with Make, for example, you need to connect different modules, different plugins, make sure everything works smoothly. You handle all the errors. And with Relevance, it was like that quick. You write a prompt, you plug the proper tools, and you get the whole thing up and running. That was insane. So I started working more with the platform. Started noticing some things that I would improve, like this UI part, that thing with the prompts, like started taking notes basically. And then I think it was Steven who reached out to me, and once we started missing some particular features, we have upgraded to the team plan, and we have paid like, I think, $200, and Steven was like, "Hey, you have just paid $200. We are interested to talking to you. Let's hop on a call." And I was like, "Sure, let's do that." And it was like 7 a.m. in the morning here in Estonia, in Tallinn. It was completely dark out of the window for myself. I was sitting on my kitchen, and guys from Australia, they called me. All the team, Steven, and all the guys and girls, and they started talking to me, and they were like, "Hey, it's dark outside. We are so sorry that you had to wake up so early." I was like, "No, that's our typical thing in Estonia, so it's always like that." So I gave all the feedback regarding Relevance AI, like things that we would improve. I've got invited to your private customer community on Slack, so that was amazing. I really enjoyed that conversation, and I was really happy to give my feedback. As a product manager in the past, I know how valuable it is, how important it is to talk to your customers. So when our conversation ended, they asked me like, "What else can we do for you? Like, what's else you want to get from us?" And I was like, "Hey, there is something. Actually, we are doing a podcast, and what about you come to the podcast show?" This is how we ended up here.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, thanks for that context. And yeah, I'm glad you got the chance to talk to Steven and Jason, I'm guessing. Yeah, they're amazing. Like, one of the things, and this is really, a reflection of ours. I would say like the first kind of 6 months of this year, we really spent more time building the technology up and making it more and more powerful. But now after that kind of first 6 months, sort of from July onwards, we really pretty much just went a lot harder on just speaking to more customers, seeing how we can make all these powerful things easier and easier to use. In fact, a lot of customers actually still don't realize there's a lot of like really powerful features we have that makes it even easier. I think even users that we've had for like since the start of the year, they tell me every week, "I didn't know you could do this in Relevance," and we're like, "Yeah, we're sorry that we didn't make that easier for you to realize that it could be used." There's still a lot of work for us to do that, but one thing I can assure you is that we still have a really strong DNA at Relevance to make sure that we're always making our platform the most powerful, so that you can actually build the most powerful agents. Sometimes it does take us some time to make sure that it's the most user friendly, or like really expose it, but we're constantly speaking to customers to make sure that we can make that easier and easier. And we have some great features like actually coming out that's been worked on for a couple months that are really going to take it to the next level. I think like one thing that people don't realize is that like we talk about the AI workforce. We actually haven't necessarily fully launched the AI workforce feature yet. It's still kind of within the agents itself, in order for you to kind of build a multi-agent system. But we've been working on this really powerful system that is battle tested, that we've worked with large customers on to make sure that it's in production, understand the nuances, and we're really excited to launch that soon. Actually, that's going to be a really, really powerful feature to not only help you build agents, but actually get agents to then start working together, just like you would with a human team, where you have a human workforce where they're working together to actually help bring like even exponential value, so that they can collaborate, create new and fresher ideas to actually help you produce even more stuff. It's the same with agents. Actually, if you get like a marketing agent to work with a sales agent, to work with a customer support agent, they actually can work together and it can be very effective. And even within marketing, having an SEO agent work with, like, let's say a lifecycle agent with, like, a brand agent, that can also create some really, more robust and powerful workflows as well. So we have some stuff like that. A lot of people ask us to continue to make knowledge even more and more powerful. What people don't realize, we actually have a feature called advanced knowledge that we've been working on that is pretty much the most dynamic RAG/knowledge system you can get in the market, where we've spent some time in making sure that it was a very stateless infra, so that, let's say next week, a new RAG system called like Graph RAG releases, and that's the state of the art. We can implement it straight away. Now for us, it's just now making it easier and easier. We like to follow that pattern of like making something super powerful and then like really talk to customer, how can we make this easier and easier so that they can use it, they can really configure it, etc. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I see how quickly the platform is evolving, and I think I know about those secret features you are talking about, but I won't spoil.
A quick question about the multi-agents thing. It's more like on the high level of things. Do you see like those systems where multi-agents talking to each other and performing different functions gonna replace actual sales and marketing departments in the future in organizations, and it'll be just a few people like at senior level left overseeing that?
Yeah, I would say like more and more people, like, it wouldn't replace, it's more like it's helping you automate that specific function. So what people, I think, often misunderstand is that, like, let's say we create like a marketing agent. It often doesn't have to actually replace the whole marketing team. What it often does is that it replaces the really repetitive, like time-consuming work of marketing, so that then all the kind of existing marketing people really then focus more on strategy, like coming up with new ideas, new strategies. It's the same with sales. The most effective sales agents on our platform is when a salesperson is actually constantly coming up with new sales strategy to then just give like the sales agent to automatically do, the outreach, the cold emails, the cold calling. But actually coming up with that strategy of what to do is what makes us experts in these fields, and that's irreplaceable. So that's something that we really, strive to, and that's why we also decided to not create like a code-based platform, but to actually create a no-code/low-code based platform, because we knew we wanted to work with the domain experts who are the ones that are on the forefront, that knows the strategy behind it, but they just need a bit of automation to really help make it so that they can just focus purely on the strategic side of things, rather than necessarily all the time on the repetitive side of things. And usually the repetitive side of things is something that those people already don't like doing. Like, let's say marketing, right? Let's say in order for you to perform a market research, one of the really boring tasks as part of market research is tagging. Whenever you do like calls, you need to tag all these different calls. Extremely repetitive process. Even with AI, even with LLM, still repetitive. So how can we get agents to automatically do that for you? So things like that, we want to essentially help automate more and more part of the really repetitive part of work, and really help you have more time to create that really unique strategic work instead.
Yeah.
So LLM is not there to come up with strategies yet, at least.
Exactly.
Not yet, Alex. Not yet.
So probably we'll see like AI strategy agents at some point in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I was just having a stance on the importance of that automation and on the importance of prioritizing things for sales and marketing. And I told Alex that I'm advocating for lead qualification, not for automated outreach, so that we've got drawn into the avalanche of automated messages on LinkedIn and email. I would rather use AI for better connecting, for better personalization of my emails and connecting on a personal level than to fully automate it to an AI. Jacky, I have a particularly technical question. I was watching a video on YouTube. I think with Alex, we have spent the previous week watching all the possible videos on AI agents that are there on YouTube. And there was one by Andrew Ng, and he gave a talk, I think, 9 months ago or something about AI agents. And he was talking about the benefits of having multiple AI agents talking to each other. And those AI agents can be enabled or powered by different versions of the LLMs, by different LLMs. One is OpenAI for O, another one is Claude 3.5. Do you see that really helps to improve the quality of the output that agents provide?
Yeah, 100%. More and more models are getting better at certain things versus other things. And you also need to, it's not just the model side of things. It's also just the prompting and what you kind of give as tools and stuff. Realistically, if you think about it as well from just even a human perspective, a lot of people could be good at many things, but the truth is if you get them to always perform all of those things at the same time, they're going to drop the ball on certain small parts of these different things. And it's the same with, the AI agents. If you're constantly getting an AI agent to context switch between being a salesperson, then being a marketing person, then, being a customer support person, it's not going to perform as well. So then that's where a multi-agent system comes in, where it doesn't have to context switch as much. And it's kind of specialized in that. And then once it's done with its task, then it hands it off to another agent, then another agent, then another agent to then form this more collaborative behavior. And it definitely increases accuracy. It increases visibility as well, because it's easier for you to kind of understand which part of the process went wrong and fix that, as opposed to just trying to mentor that one agent who's trying to, act as 5 different personas. And that's, I think, something that people can often forget about, how these models are trained. These models are trained from data of everyone, right? It's every single persona out there. So when I say the word Apple to a technology person, that's the phone, the computers, etc. But to let's say a retail person, that's Apple, the fruit apple. So if I only just give it the instruction of Apple, how the hell does it know if I'm referring to Apple the computer or Apple, in retail? So then if you give it more context, you're saying, well, you actually are a technology, person, you're a computer scientist. So when I say Apple, that's what I mean. And there's even more stuff like that. When I say Python, I don't mean, the snake Python. Yeah. I mean, the coding Python. And then when the AI gets confused about that, people are oh, then it's crap. No, it's actually, quite frankly, it's just you haven't given it enough instruction or context to know what you're talking about. So that's a really interesting thing. And I think that's what multi-agent systems are really good at, is that you can give it more, specialization, more specificity, and then have them all work together to essentially then help you achieve the kind of greater task. And that's why we see a lot of these different, when we say sales, it's not just specifically sales. There's account executives, there's BD, there's revenue operations. There's a whole lot of things that goes on in sales. Even specifically with BD, there's cold calling, there's research, there's a whole bunch of different steps. The more you can break down into smaller agents, the better you can kind of then get them to work with each other. Marketing, similar thing. It's actually not just marketing. Everyone thinks of marketing as just marketing. Well, there's actually SEO, there's product marketing, there's brand marketing, there's, lifecycle marketing. There's a lot of different, sub parts, that requires different, actions and expertise. So that's when, if you can make it into specialized agents and have to work together, you'll get a better accuracy, and you'll get a better reliability, etc. So yeah.
So the context is actually matters a lot. Alex, if you don't mind, I will lead Jacky to another technical question, and then I pass it back to you.
Take it, Ilya.
All right, Jacky, you've mentioned that that you're currently working on improving that internal rec system for Relevance AI. And I remember building a rec within, for example, make.com. That was a big pain in the ass, and you had to come up with the different solutions, like storing it in a data store, then retrieving and putting together a large, huge prompt in order to give all the context. And as we have just talked, the context matters a lot, right? It basically decides how the output will be produced by the LLM. So tell me, why is that internal rec system, internal knowledge base that you are currently building within Relevance AI, why it's so important? And tell us a bit more about the practical use cases, how to use that knowledge base within our own agents.
Yeah, no, 100%. So like RAG essentially gives agent context into certain things that it might not been trained on. So like let's say for example, let's say it's your company HR policy. Like truth is, like the LLM is not going to be able to been trained on that. So if you ask it, like let's say if I ask it what is Relevance AI's HR policy, the truth is if it comes up with any answer, I'm like even already kind of surprised. But that's where kind of RAG comes in. You're able to essentially give agent the context of your specific data. So I can now give the agent my HR policy, like the Relevance AI HR policy, and then now the agent is able to actually answer questions and understand our HR policy. Now, why it's so important to make sure that that's accurate is because we want to make sure that the agent is able to absorb as much of that knowledge, and that knowledge is going to keep increasing as well. So making sure that that is something that we can have as a really powerful feature that is like super accurate and dynamic is something that's really important. So that's why we invest a lot into it. And I say a lot, we have a person like dedicated to it. We're actually expanding the team there even more, but that will allow, people like yourselves to be able to say like, oh, I actually have like a marketing strategy, 20 pager that pretty much encapsulates how I, do marketing, or what is the strategy I have around it. Can I just give this to the agent and make it so that it understands that, so that, in order for me to kind of replicate my services more to other people, I can just give them this agent and it will pretty much give like the similar, at least based off that book, a similar strategy advice on those matters. So yeah, that's why it's really important for us to keep developing RAG, and we want to make it as easy as possible, but also accurate. So that it can keep getting more and more performant. We do have 2 RAG systems currently in the platform. So we have a basic RAG system, which is pretty quick and easy to use. We have the advanced RAG system. So now we're trying to merge it a bit together so that you can, go from easy to use to really advanced, in a fluid way. So yeah.
Thanks. That's really a comprehensive answer. Just one last thing. What I've noticed working with Relevance and other platforms is that you can have as advanced prompts as you could come up with. You can spend a lot of time on like rehearsing and nailing down your prompts and your instructions, but it all comes down to the quality of the tools, of the APIs that you plug in. So, and the agent can't do more than it receives back from those tools, right? So, and I think that's really important to remember that by the end of the day, you should really care about the quality of the data that you feed into the agent, and spending more time on building a better scraping system or a better tool that retrieves some data and then cleans that data before passing it to the agent. That's really important. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. That's why we even have a tool builder platform, right? Like I think we're one of the few, if not only, platforms that have a tool building experience. It's because you're 100% right. In order for the agent to know what it's doing, it needs good data, like junk in, junk out. But in order for you to make sure that it's not junk in, you do need APIs. You do need to know how to clean the data, etc. So like that's where you can build those things within Tool Builder to be able to connect to like Salesforce, to be able to connect to like HubSpot, to be able to connect to like Google Search, etc. And that's something we're consistently like making it better and more powerful. Like you'll be happy to know that like we're actually going to launch like meeting capabilities as well as part of the tools so that you can send like a meeting bot, etc. We're going to be adding visual website interpreter so that like it's not just scraping the content and HTML, but it's actually just like visually looking at the website and saying like, oh, this website is really colorful, or like this website has like no CTAs, or this website is like probably a template from the marketplace or something like that. So just things like that are really important. So we are constantly adding more and more of this. In fact, we haven't really announced it yet, but we actually just launched a whole bunch of image generation stuff as well. We want you to be able to do more and more capabilities with agents, and tools is a really important part of that as well.
Jacky, one question that I have from the business perspective, Ilya is more on the technical side. He'll get excited with all the technology and all the features and all of that. I also look at this from the cost perspective, and one of the things that I've seen happening, ChatGPT, Relevance AI, you name it, like any platform related to AI, is that when the solution is not well optimized, it starts to eat credits. It starts to eat, basically money. What would be your advice or like direction that people like us should explore when they're launching these solutions, so that it won't eat up all their budget dedicated to that?
That's a good question. And it's a difficult one for sure. For us, our goal is to help the customers get value. So we are actually working on some stuff to help you optimize the tokens used, the credits spent. So our goal is not for you to like maximize your credits. Our goal for you is to enjoy and get value out of ROI, and via that we get to make money off that. But we actually want you to get even stronger ROI than what you pay for relevance. So the credits and stuff, it's not like we actually want to kind of start making that cheaper and cheaper in general as well, so that you can essentially be able to utilize features and relevance that helps you minimize the credits and tokens you spend. But it's not easy. Like the truth is, a lot of these times, like to optimize prompts, etc., there's a cost behind it. Mm-hmm. And we are most of the time actually just passing that cost on directly, rather than necessarily charging a margin, etc., on it. So it's something to for us to just keep building more features and figuring out more research on how to make that help you to get to confidence in deployment quicker, rather than having to over tinker sometimes too much as well. But that will go down over time as well. Like model costs are going down almost every 3 months. So that's going to help as well in terms of the cost, where every time you try it, it's almost negligible as well. So yeah.
Makes sense. Ilya, any last questions? I think we're wrapping up with Jacky. It's been almost 40 minutes.
Yeah. I would love to ask one question, and this is more about the data privacy and security. So Alex has mentioned about the financial part of the business, but how does Relevant AI make sure that the data that we send to the agents is processed and stored maybe in your knowledge base safely, because we are working with clients from FinTech industry and sometimes working on legal cases as well, processing the legal data. And sometimes customers come to us and say, hey, we can't use OpenAI API. We don't want our data to leak out to the internet. Therefore, you should use hosted models like AWS, BlackRock, Claude, or whatever. Do you have something like that on Relevance so that we can make sure that the data is processed and stored safely?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, actually. So we do that actually by default. We probably should tell customers that it's happening, but
sure.
So we don't go to, especially when you're like a Teams like Plus customer, we utilize Bedrock and Azure by default unless you choose to want to use. Exactly. So when it says OpenAI, it's actually not going to OpenAI, it's going to Azure OpenAI, which means that data isn't getting trained or anything. That being said, we do have DPA agreements with both like pretty much all the major model providers that essentially prevents any data that we give to them to be trained or to be kept, etc. So that's like, a legal agreement in place that makes sure of that. And that means all of our requests goes through a different bucket rather than like kind of the general bucket. So those are things that we just kind of do by default. We have, certificates like SOC 2, GDPR, etc., that you can actually look up at trust.relevanceai.com. You can see, when did we get our penetration testing done for our security perspective. And, we have good folks on the team who's experienced in that side. Like our director of engineering used to lead Chrome OS apps, and there's a lot of security related stuff that he had to work on to make sure that those were secure. So, those are the kind of things. We take data privacy and data processing very seriously. So we are constantly looking at ways how can we make sure that this data is not going to a source that who knows what they're doing with it. So yeah.
Awesome and super important, especially for the enterprise customers. May I suggest you put it on your website like a big header, like we don't trade your data, we don't send your data out of the Relevance.
I can confirm that we get this question pretty much at every sales meeting. Like, hey guys, what are you gonna do with data? So that's really important.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, we're also building our own models, etc., so that you don't have to also. It doesn't have to go to these big model providers, and those models actually we want the customers to have ownership of them, so then they can self-deploy it, etc. Yeah, we're one thing we do pretty well at Relevance is we're constantly researching new ways to solve these different problems to make it more secure, to just make the whole platform more powerful. And I think that's the number one confidence you can have is that we will, if it's not the most powerful in a certain feature now, we're definitely already thinking about how to make it more powerful so that it will be the most powerful in a couple of months. We are constantly researching on how to make those things better and actually already engineering and developing it in the background. So yeah.
All right. Jacky, it's been great. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been really insightful. Appreciate it.
Likewise. Have a great rest of the day, guys. So, see ya.
Sleep well.
Thanks.
Take some rest.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for coming.
Oh, let me breathe. Oh, that was so cool.
That was amazing. Yeah, so many insights. I mean, this is the first time I hear about how they process the data, how they store the data, and many other features that aren't mentioned on their websites. Definitely, guys should do a lot of work regarding the product marketing, right? Because I think they are hardly relying on product-led growth today, and this is another very interesting topic to explore with the Relevance AI team maybe next time, right? To talk with their product managers, how they enable the growth of the platform. I think for our FinTech SaaS customers, that would be super interesting, right? How to get more customers without paying for ads or just using the PLG strategies.
Listen, while we were talking about the data privacy, I got my mind spinning. How easy it would be to introduce that technology to many customers in financial services, since most of them are really concerned about the data privacy. And if you even look at the technology, let's say 6 months or a year ago, to have solution, even AI automation that would power your business, hey, you need like heavy coding stuff going on there. Like you need DevOps team to spin off the AWS Bedrock with custom LLM, then LangChain, to process all this data, maybe custom rack system. Like it just takes hours, days, weeks, sometimes months to get this going. And I can say that with confidence because we've been doing that. But now, like this technology allows to introduce, let's say, AI agents that will be helping analysts in investment firms with their research. Because analysts, like, they just bird and like tons of data that they need to go through to make a sense out of it, to make right investment suggestion to the fund managers. So yeah, it's just so exciting how technology is evolving and how business is evolving and what we can do with that.
That should drastically improve the go-to-market time from building the initial version to actually releasing it to the public. As I said, that could be done within hours, not even weeks, not months anymore.
Yeah, I think we covered lots of different things. Let's try to sum it up.
Sure.
Let's start with difference, like for 5 years old. Let's put it this way. How can you explain to 5 years old difference between LLM, AI automation, AI agent? You can throw in chatbot as well here.
Oh gosh, that's a challenging task. All right, I'll try. So what is an LLM? Right. Actually, my daughter asked that question quite often, and like, "Hey, Daddy, have you been talking to an AI recently again?" I was like, "Yes." Why? No. So an LLM is basically a new type of an IT system, or someone says that a new type of a living entity, even that. Imagine. So, like a human brain and the AI brain or LLM brains, they are comparable, and they are of a different type of thinking process, right? They are entities that think differently, and the fact that we can't understand how LLMs think. There are research groups who are dedicated to learn to investigate how LLMs think, and you can hear about that in the recent Lex Fridman's podcast with Dario Amadei, talking about their research on Claude 3 and that Golden Bridge case. We'll put a link to the description of this podcast. That's super interesting how they forced an LLM to finish every response with a sentence about the Golden Bridge, and that made LLM more human friendly, because when you make an LLM obsessed about something, it's like a human, because it's only humans who are obsessed about things.
So we can call LLM as a digital human brain in a sense.
In a sense,
different level of development, but let's kind of on the level of abstract, where we describe it to a person who doesn't know anything about it. Let's put it this way.
It's an alien's brain, I would say. It's not a human's brain, but alien's brain.
Okay, yeah, that's more ethical.
Yeah, that's an LLM. Yeah, then we have what AI automations. AI automations is basically an old school way of processing the data, but now using that alien's brain. So alien's brain is now intercepting the flow of the data. You have something coming in, something coming out, and in between there is that alien's brain.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like you have some kind of an input from a customer on your website. Let's talk about chatbots, right? And the customer asks, hey, does your product support, I don't know, whatever, Swedish language, right? And that agent should find a piece of information from your knowledge base about the supported languages or upcoming releases, and should give a meaningful answer. Hey, it's not supported yet, but we have this on our roadmap and it will be released on February 5th, something like that. So that's pretty straightforward, right? You have an answer coming in, you have an internal knowledge base, and you have an answer coming out. That doesn't require much of thinking.
Okay. What about AI agents?
Now, AI agents, they are much more complex. And imagine you have a lead coming in from the website and you have to prioritize that lead. Is it something that you should take, I don't know, and process as soon as possible and send them your slide deck and, I don't know, offer and jump on a sales call? Or is it like just a prospect, just trying to understand if it's a good fit for them or not, and you should send them more educational materials like your lead magnet or something. So that's a complex process, right? And every marketing team is struggling with that. Every sales team is struggling with that to get qualified leads. And how to do that lead qualification is essentially not a very deterministic process. Well, we are trying to make it more deterministic with putting some kind of attributes like the company size, I don't know, demographics, firmographics, things like that. But essentially, it's we humans who decide if it's a good fit or not, and there could be different cases. Now, if we introduce AI agents, they could look at it from different perspectives, right? They could analyze that lead, the customer journey of that lead, the company from where that lead comes from, the profile of that lead, right? Are they in the decision making stage, or are they just trying to educate themselves? Is it a good opportunity window? So
how would they do that?
Yeah, that requires basically a lot of data and a lot of thought process and a lot of exchange between the agents. Like, hey, a scraping agent, tell me what have you found? Hey, market analytics agents, tell me what's the current trend? What are the current trends on the markets for purchasing that kind of solutions? Is it a good time to approach the customer with those kind of value propositions? So they communicate, they make a decision, and they give your team a suggestion. So-called labeling that was mentioned by Jacky just recently.
Yeah. So to put it in simple terms, LLM is an LLM brain. AI automation is you sending a request to this brain and then you get a response. Like, that's it. You just get a response. AI agent, in turn, you can give it complex task and it will not only give you the response, it can actually do stuff. It can talk to other systems. It can send requests. It could, I don't know, send emails, send messages, whatever. So you can think of it as not LN brain, but LN as a whole with hands.
An actor.
An actor, yeah. And then another thing, just to draw the clear line between single AI agent and multi-AI agent systems, is where, like what you just said, like you have multiple actors, this AI agents, with different specializations, like Jacky said. So you just tailor that particular agent down to, like, hey, you're a salesperson. Here is your RAG, which is a fancy technical way of saying like knowledge base. Just look at there and make sure that you follow your sales process. And then you are marketing, you are blah, 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 blah. So you have like a team of different AI agents and they can talk to each other. So this is where we are at the moment. And what Jacky mentioned also, like we will be getting to the point where there is an agent who orchestrates all of that. Like, let's call it like I don't know, AI director,
A boss agent. Yeah.
a boss agent. So that's where we're getting with this. And that's so exciting. That's so exciting. We're still trying to figure it out ourselves. The technology changes every day. And it's so fascinating and so fun, and there are limitless opportunities to apply this technology, even if, as we discovered on this call, like in terms of the data privacy, it's not an issue anymore. So yeah, it's exciting.
100%. You have nailed it, Alex.
Yeah. Do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. We are good, I think.
Cool. Yeah. So first of all, thanks for staying with us more than 1 hour. Wow, it's a long one. We will definitely be doing more stuff on that subject, maybe inviting more guests on AI Egypt subject. I also would like to record a separate session where we may look at how we can apply this technology to FinTech and financial services in particular. What could be the use cases and how we as Product Era can help you. So yeah, thank you for staying with us. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. And if you have any questions about AI agents or anything around it, feel free to reach me or Ilya out. We'll be happy to chat.
Absolutely. That's a pleasure.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.